Hello, I'm Dr. Pete. I'm the co-founder of Ketonic Revolution, and this is my story. About a decade ago, I was at work. I teach chemistry, and our company, our school, had just changed insurance companies, and the faculty were all ushered into a cold gym where a whole team of medical professionals took our biomarkers. The very first station that we stepped up to was a blood draw, and I have a needle phobia. So I was highly aroused, right? My adrenaline was spiked through the roof. The next station after the blood draw was blood pressure. And when the nurse took my blood pressure, she looked me in the eye and said I should schedule a meeting with my doctor as soon as possible, which completely freaked me out. So if we go back a decade to that day in that cold gym and we ask, okay, what happened before that? Well, what happened before that was life, right? I've been a mountaineer and a rock climber for over 40 years. But then I had a daughter who I had to raise. You know, there was mortgages to pay, all these things. And I segued before that a decade ago into a career, right? So I could pay the bills basically and take care of my business. So I had perhaps another decade in there of a sedentary existence. So fast forwarding to a couple of months after that cold day in the gym. And by the way, that cold day in the gym had stimulated me to get off the couch and start exercising. And that's what I did. And a few months after that cold day in the gym, I came up with a terrible pain in my foot, my right foot. In particular, it was the knuckle of my big toe, and I went to the doctor, and it turned out that I had gout. All this happening within a couple of months. In addition to that, my weight was up around 168. Note, I'm pretty short. I'm only 5'6". So having a weight of 168 was pretty high, right? I was definitely over my BMI. So I joined a gym and I started exercising regularly, right? But let's just talk about what the effect of that was, because at that point I hadn't changed my diet at all, right? And I had some habits, like I would go home at the end of a long day at school, stressed out, managing sometimes as many as 250 students, and I usually was drinking 2 to 3 beers. Well, I made dinner for my family, which had a lot of pasta, had a lot of grains, and it had a lot of sugars in it. All of this unbeknownst to me. I didn't realize the danger I was putting myself in, but nor the accumulation of decades for a diet like that. In any case, I exercised my head off, and my weight came down just a couple of pounds in that time frame. So fast forward to about now 2 years ago, and I go in to have my blood work done. And keep in mind, at this point, I'd been exercising hard for a few years. And what happens? I come back prediabetes, right? My A1C is 5.8, and my morning fasting glucose is 109. Now, for some of you watching this that are full-blown type 2 diabetics, you might be going, well, you're pretty lucky, Dr. Pete, because that fasting sugar is pretty low, and your A1C could have been a lot worse. And you know what? You're absolutely right. But this, for me, was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I started exercising even harder. And I eliminated, all of the simple sugars out of my diet. And I started buying the finest whole grains that you can get, the finest black beans and things like that. I was following the doctor's advice, the Mediterranean diet. And I guarantee you, it was ironclad, right? But I watched my fasting glucose rising towards the diabetic range. And out of frustration, I started reading all the literature I could get my hands on. But the thing that saved me was that I went to the gym one day and ran into the owner. And I lamented to him about this situation and the seriousness of it and how frustrated I was. And he suggested that the problem was that I was still eating carbohydrates and that I should check out this lifestyle called the keto lifestyle. And that's what I did. 52 days later, I was no longer pre-diabetic. My A1C had dropped from 5.8 to 4.1. And my fasting glucose was consistently coming in at between 82 to 85. Not only that, but now, a year and a half later, I have lost 31 pounds. 31 pounds. I feel great. I have tons of energy. And life couldn't be better. So, if you're interested in this transformation, click the link below and I'll send you my free ebook on how to do the keto lifestyle, how to do it safely. It's a short guide, it's easy to read, and if you follow the steps, you can have what I have too. All right, Dr. Pete signing off.